You hear it all the time, right? Reinvent yourself. It's kind of become the go-to phrase for making a fresh start. But what if most of what we're told about reinvention is, well, kind of empty? What if it's just a form of existential makeup? Today, we're going to trade in those easy slogans for a much deeper and honestly more challenging look at what it really means to change your life.
So, on one hand, you've got the stuff you see on motivational posters. Change your mindset, be your best you. It's all about repainting the facade of the house. But on the other hand, you have this really radical idea, inspired by the philosopher Martin Heidegger. And he wouldn't talk about a new coat of paint. He'd say real change is about questioning the foundation, maybe even destroying the entire house and building a new one. This contrast, this is really the heart of everything we're talking about today.
All right, so let's start by just tearing into this reinvention myth. This is the super popular idea that changing your life is all about quick fixes and just thinking positively. And look, it's a tempting thought for sure, but it keeps the same old you in place. You're just putting a new filter on it. It lets you avoid the much harder, much messier work of actual transformation. To really get to the core of what real change looks like, we have to take apart one of the biggest ideas in the whole self-help world, this myth of the true self. You know the one, the belief that deep down inside of you there's a fixed, essential identity just waiting to be found. This is the command, right? This is the mission we're all sent on. Discover who you are. It's this idea that you have to go on some inward journey to find the real you that's been hiding this whole time. And it sounds great. But philosophy has a radically different idea. And this just flips the whole script. The counter-argument from Heidegger is that you don't discover who you are because you're not a finished thing to be discovered in the first place. You are pure potential. The whole game shifts from discovery to creation. You are whatever you project yourself to be. It's about what you do. To really get this, we need one key term. It's Dasein. It's a German word that basically means being there. The idea is that we aren't beings with a static, fixed core. We're beings defined by our possibilities. And this part is absolutely crucial. We are always thrown into a world we didn't choose. A specific time, a specific culture, a specific family, all of it. So if we're thrown into circumstances, that leads us right to the next big myth we've got to bust. And that's the fantasy of the clean slate. That really attractive idea that you can just wipe away everything that's happened and start over, completely from scratch. I mean, come on, we all love this idea, right? Just start from scratch. It sounds so liberating, a total reset button on life, a way to escape all our past mistakes. But from this philosophical point of view, it's a total illusion. And here's why it's an illusion. You are always a being in the world. You can't just pause your life, step outside of it for a minute, and hit restart. You're always in a situation, tangled up in a whole web of relationships, history, and your own limits. There's just no such thing as a neutral starting line. Being in the world means you're already neck deep in all of this. Your relationships, your past failures, your responsibilities, it's all part of the deal. So the really critical point here is that real reinvention isn't about escaping all this stuff. It's actually the opposite. It's about assuming it. It's about owning it. Real change only starts when you look at exactly where you are, baggage and all, and say, okay, this is the starting point. All right, now stick with me here, because this is where the argument gets really, really intense. According to Heidegger, the single most important key to unlocking real, authentic change is something most of us try very hard not to think about: our own death. The fancy term for this is being towards death, but listen, it's not about being morbid or gloomy. It's about having this profound, clarifying realization that you are a finite being, that one day all of your possibilities will just stop. It is the possibility of having no more possibilities. And when you truly, genuinely grasp that, everything changes. See, this realization has these powerful, totally practical effects. First, all those little excuses you have for not changing your life, they suddenly look completely ridiculous. Second, you get this incredible clarity about what actually matters to you. And third, it just lights a fire under you. It forces you to act now because you finally understand in your bones that time is running out. Now, confronting your own mortality tends to bring up a very specific feeling. It's one that, let's be honest, most of us spend our entire lives trying to avoid: anguish. But in this view, anguish isn't a problem that you need to solve. It's actually a powerful tool for transformation.
And it's so important to see the distinction here. Fear is simple. Fear has an object. You're afraid of something, spiders, public speaking, whatever. Anguish is different. It doesn't have an object. It's that strange, dizzying feeling of vertigo you get when you come face to face with your own total freedom, and the terrifying fact that nothing in life is guaranteed. So while our whole culture is basically set up to soothe our anguish, to distract us from it, to numb it, this philosophy says to do the exact opposite. You have to lean into it. Why? Because anguish is the fuel. It's the only force powerful enough to snap you out of that inauthentic autopilot life. It rips away all the noise and all the distractions and lets you see, maybe for the very first time, the life you could be living. So what we're left with are two completely different paths to change. One is about making surface-level improvements, and the other is about a deep, fundamental, existential overhaul. Let's just put them side by side so it's crystal clear. Yeah, this table really sums it all up. The self-help path says the self is a fixed thing you have to find. It tells you to start from zero, to just improve the facade, and to avoid discomfort at all costs. The philosophical path, though, says the self is an open project you have to create. It says you have to start from exactly where you are, that the goal is to rebuild the entire foundation, and that you have to use that difficult feeling of anguish as the fuel to do it. They really are two completely different ways of looking at your own life. And so this whole explainer doesn't end with a neat little how-to guide. It leaves us with a much bigger, much more personal question. The real question isn't how do you reinvent yourself? It's a question only you can answer. Am I truly willing to go through the necessary pain to make real change happen?